All right, so this video, I'm going to discuss should you sell your home or you should rent it. I'm going to give you a real life example of one I looked at on Zillow today of what it would look like if you bought that house today compared to and then rented it compared to if you already own that. And let's say you bought that in 2019, 2020, a few years ago, and you have a good 4% interest rate. I'm going to run through those numbers based on a Zillow actual listing. So let me give you an example of my house. So I own a property in Howard County. We bought it about 7 years ago. We had a pretty decent interest rate when the market changed. We refinanced to actually a 20-year and got like a 3 point something interest rate, right? So our mortgage on this house is right around 3,200. If we rented it today, we would probably be pretty close to break even. It's not a huge cash flow area, and that is probably one of the biggest issues with Howard County that you see in a lot of areas, unless you're buying one of the more inexpensive townhomes, but then you have HOAs, that kind of stuff. But you have high prices, decent rent amount, but you don't cash flow like you can in, say, Baltimore or Catonsville or areas surrounding here. But what you do get is you get good rents to help offset a little bit. In the right areas, you're also attracting really good tenants that are taking care of the house, taking care of the yard, that kind of stuff. So there's some things in this market that make it a little bit difficult for somebody that's looking for just cash flow. But if you're looking for a property that can help with appreciation and other things like that, Howard County is fantastic. Okay, so let's go through my house. I ran numbers on the other day, kind of looked at it. 32 to 35. It's a 4-bed, 3-bath with a finished basement. It's got a really nice yard. I think we could get 35 on this property. And so if we had that, we're getting about $300 a month in cash flow. Okay. And that's after mortgage, after insurance, after taxes. But then we have a property management fee. So we're looking at, say, a 10% property management fee. I'm breaking even on this property if I rent it. The benefit of this property is if you look at what the appreciation is going to happen in the next 5-10 years, or what has happened in the past 5-10 years, this house is going to go up in value. It's already gone up in value quite a bit since we bought it. And so we're looking at that less as a cash flow producing property and more of an appreciating, and then also tax deductions and those kind of benefits. Okay. So this house that's on the market, it is in Allview Estates, which is a pretty popular neighborhood just off of 29 in Howard County. The list price as of today is $545,000. So if you were to go buy that house as an investor, you'd be putting 20% down typically, right? So you're looking at about $100,000 down. You're looking at about a 7% interest rate. And then with taxes, insurance, that kind of stuff, you're looking at roughly about a $3,200 payment. So very similar to my house. The rent on this house is very similar. It's a really nice house in really good shape, 4-bed, 3-bath. And the rent on that is anywhere from $3,000 to $35,000. So again, you're going to be in this property with $100,000 down, making basically no cash flow per month, right? So to try to sell you on, hey, you should go buy this house and turn this into a rental, it's tough from a cash flow perspective. And you can go into maybe other areas like Baltimore or Catonsville, or there's townhomes in Howard County where you can maybe cash flow a little more, but you might be dealing with a little bit different tenant management. Your appreciation is still going to be there, but maybe not as great. So back to this house, you buy it, put $100,000 down, and you are not cash flowing, but over 5-10 year projection of what that house is worth. Again, it's all about the appreciation. Looking back at that exact house and looking at Zillow numbers, it was worth, they were asking back in 2016, no, not asking, sorry, in 2016, it was estimated about $323,000. So it's gone up $200,000 in 10 years. And that's pretty common around here based on all the government jobs, everything that's happening in the DMV. Appreciation continues. Okay. So now if you already own that house, so if that house is for sale now, but if that owner, who based on everything I can see has owned it for quite a while, if they said, you know what, maybe we should rent this. Let's say they bought it in 2016. I think they've owned it longer than that based on the numbers, but I don't honestly know. But if that's the case, they bought this for $323,000. It's now worth $540,000. So if they sold it today, by the time they paid realtors and closing costs, they're going to walk away with $150,000, not quite $200,000, but about $150,000. That's a good amount of money. But let's think about this. If you rented it, and if they own 323, their payment on that is probably $24, $25. They actually could be cash flowing $400-$500 a month. But let's take away the cash flow. Let's say they bought it, they're not making any money on it. That mortgage is now in the 10th year of that mortgage. Every month that tenant pays you, and you take that rent and you pay your mortgage, and maybe you're not putting any extra money in the bank account, you're really attacking your loan balance on that property. Because you're 10 years into it, you're really going to be paying down that debt service on that property. You have 20 years left. That tenant's going to pay that off. Yes, you didn't make any money over the years every month. You're not cash flowing, but you still have the tax deductions. You still have some write-offs. You still have appreciation that's happening. Plus, your debt service is just really being attacked every month. I think when I looked at it, actually, you're looking at probably 60% of that payment is going to be attacking that. So now you look at that property 5, 10 years down the road, you're going to owe like $100 something thousand on the house, and the tenant has paid most of that. You're not looking to buy an asset and cash flow. You're looking to buy a property in a nice neighborhood that's going to attract good tenants, that's going to appreciate, and you're making money with tax deductions and appreciation. And so it's more of a 5 to 10 year plan. It's not buy it, cash flow, make a bunch of money. Unfortunately, that's going to be more in Baltimore. You can go to DC and maybe do that. If you buy a multi-unit. Prince George County can be really good for that in certain areas. But Howard County, Maryland is kind of a tough market for that. You might have to go more to the Midwest, like Kansas City. You hear good stuff. You hear parts of Dallas or parts of Texas that's been good. But now those markets have gone crazy. Even like Nashville, probably 5 years ago, was a really good market. 7 years ago. But there's still places you can cash flow. And so if your goal is full cash flow, you might want to be looking Midwest areas. Even like South Carolina, North Carolina has gone crazy. So, but Howard County, you're going to get appreciation. And if you can get a good tenant in there, which the school districts attract really good tenants, we've had multiple properties, I more than I can count, where a family's moved in, they've paid the fair market rent and even above fair market rent because they want to keep their kid in this school where families are willing to pay. And they're good tenants. They take care of the property. They're there till their son graduates, their daughter graduates for Howard County School. And you've got a tenant that's there taking care of the property, living there for multiple years. And then it's all about appreciation, paying off your debt service, and that tax deduction. So again, that's the value of buying and selling. I will throw in here that Zillow listing so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. That's actually a property that's on the market today that honestly wouldn't be the worst purchase if you had $100,000 put down. Again, not cash flowing. You're going to get a property that's going to be in a really nice neighborhood that's going to appreciate. It's going to attract really good tenants who are going to take care of that property, and that could be a really good place to put $100,000 to buy a property. So thank you for watching. Other videos we have here kind of on how to do lease renewals, all that kind of stuff with real estate, with property management. I'm BJ with Real Property Management. Thank you.